And let's begin our practice child's pose. So just take your time to make your way there. As always, we'll just start with a beginning meditation. Start to feel your breath, feel your body. Oh, there's Mindy. Hello. Just settle forward, breathe, and relax. We're just taking notice of places that we might be holding tension and stiffness. Just taking one final deep breath into our low back and hips. And with our next inhalation, let's breathe ourselves up into down dog. So lifting up onto your hands and knees, tuck your toes, lift your knees, lift your hips, and feel free to shift and move, whatever feels good to kind of feel into your body here. As we take another exhalation, let's lower down for thread the needle. So sink your seat back. Let's take our left arm out and our right arm underneath the left. Relaxing down to the right shoulder. Once this next breath is ended, let's take this over to the opposite side. Again, just relax into this as deeply as you possibly can. So take your time to make any little adjustments that you need to really set it up so you can let everything soften. And we'll take our time to move into an active plank position. So let's lift up onto our hands and knees. Walk your hands forward, shoulders over your wrists. And then tuck your toes, lift your knees off the floor, tuck your tailbone. Push the floor away, hold it, breathe. And then knees relax to the floor. One more time, bring your knees out wide, big toes together, sink back. Let's take that version of child's pose with the prayer hands behind our head. And again, we just relax into this. Next breath in, let's start to unwind and lift ourselves up, and we'll move into low plank this time. So walk yourself forward, lower down onto your elbows and forearms. Let's tuck our toes, lift your knees, lift your hips, tuck your tailbone, push the floor away, breathe. And then knees relax to the floor, hips relax to the floor. Let's take our Sphinx posture. So this time bring your hands, if they're not already there, flat to the ground. Our elbows are right underneath our shoulders. If we'd like to deepen the back bend here, feel free to put a bend in your knees. I even think it feels kind of nice to windshield wiper side to side. If you want to try that, you can. Or just relax, completely up to you. So if we are making those windshield wiper movements, let's coast to a stop. If we have our legs lifted here, let's bring them back down to the floor. Our hands come underneath our shoulders. We'll push ourselves up onto our hands and knees, and then rounding all the way up onto both knees. And we'll take a gate posture on either side. So let's take our left leg out to the side. Our right arm goes up and over, reaching for your ribs. Breathe into your side body. Keep reaching. And release. Let's do that the opposite way. So bring that left leg in, the right leg goes out to the side. I know I say this all the time, but just in case, some of us, our toes are going to be popped up, but I definitely see some people go like this, and if that's the case, that's fine. We'll take our left arm up and over, really reach. And as we exhale, starting to release, we'll come onto our hands and knees, tucking our toes, lifting your knees, lift your hips, walking to down dog, and then all the way back to a forward fold. And just like always in our forward folds, if you like to be still here, that's great. If you want to shift and move and feel into it, that's good too. So if we are making those swinging movements, let's come to a stop at center. And option number one, let's take our left leg straight up to the sky as high as we can. If we'd like to, however, we can try to stack our hips, take your left arm up to the ceiling. So either variation is fine. Breathe. Try to rotate open. And as we exhale, let's release, unwind. We'll do that on the opposite side. So again, if we're going to stop with standing needle, that's totally okay by just lifting the right leg up and then folding forward. But if we want to try to move into half moon position, we can try to stack the hips and take the right arm up. as we exhale, let's release. Coming back down to center. Let's walk our hands over towards the left side. Look out underneath the right arm and breathe. Just try to relax a few more breaths. And then walking ourselves over to the right side, looking out underneath the left foot. Starting to make our way back towards center. Let's put a bend in both knees. Inhale, round up through our spine. Sweep your arms up overhead. And then exhale, hands come to the heart space. Take an active shoulder opening by just starting to kind of swing our arms. So feel the shoulder squeeze in the back. You're going to crisscross in the front. I always know that I've got some stuck energy back there when I do this. If I start to feel this kind of, it's almost like, for me, it almost feels like cool water. It starts to run around my shoulder blades. Just a few more. And starting to coast to a stop at center. Shake it out a little bit if you need to. Nice. Yeah, triangle postures. So let's keep our right foot forward and our left leg steps back. As always, take a second to check your alignment. Heels in one line, back foot turn forward, arms to a big letter T. We're going to reach out really far forward first. Try to say that a few times fast. And then tip over. If we feel comfortable balancing by looking up, we want to do that. If that feels really uncomfortable on your neck, just look forward. And we always want to keep our shoulders away from our ears. Next exhalation, this top arm is going to come down to the floor. We're going to spin our back heel up and lower that back knee to the ground. You'll probably want to heel toe that right foot out to the side a little bit so we can be in our dragon posture. And as always, if you like to lower down to your elbows and forearms, go for it. If you're good with extended arms, that's fine too. Just try to soften into it. So if we are lowered down on the elbows and forearms, let's take our time to lift ourselves up. Tuck your back toes under, step back to down dog. And from our down dog position, let's step or jump to the top of the mat. Folding with an exhalation, and then rising with an inhalation. Sweeping your arms up overhead. And then exhale, hands to the heart space. Let's take that triangle posture on the other side, and we'll do all of that the other way. So this time our left leg is staying forward and the right leg steps back. Check your alignment. And then bring your arms out into the big letter T. Let's really reach forward first, and then tip over. Gently press your feet into the mat. And as we exhale, take that right arm down to the ground, spin the back heel up, lower the knee to the floor. Again, you'll probably want to heel toe that left leg out to the side a ways, maybe not, and that's okay if that's not necessary for you. And if you lowered down to your elbows and forearms before, go for it again. Just relax. Carefully, mindfully, we're going to start to lift ourselves up and make our way through that same flow to get back into our forward fold as before. So hands under the shoulders to lift up, tuck your toes under, making your way back to down dog, and then step or jump forward. And from our forward fold, we'll take a little deeper variation of our hamstring stretch. So our right leg this is actually not a giant step, but pretty decent size. Back through the right foot. If you can imagine, just like our triangle posture, we still have our right leg turned, or excuse me, the right foot turned forward as well. And just fold over the left leg. If you need to bend in the knee to feel comfortable to relax, that's okay. If this starts to become painful, don't feel like you have to stay in it. And once this exhalation is ended, we're just going to do this on the opposite side. So take the right leg forward and the left leg back. And this time folding over the right leg. Just one more breath. And at the bottom of that exhalation, we'll put a bend in the forward knee, spin your back heel up. One more time, step back to down dog. Relaxing your knees down to the floor. And you know what, let's take camel posture. So you get to kind of decide how deep into this you feel like going. So as always, maybe we lift up and bring our hands to our low back as we push our hips forward and lift through the heart space. But if we feel okay to drop the hands to the heels, that's another option. Don't stress your neck out trying to drop your head back if that doesn't feel good. If we're really feeling crazy, have the tops of your feet to the floor and the palms of your hands under the soles of your feet. And starting to release. So I'm hoping that we're starting to get to the point that we can cross our ankles and just roll back to seated. If that's not working for you, don't worry about it. We'll move into deer posture. So let's take our left leg at a right angle to the front. Right leg at a right angle to the side. And then just relax straight forward over that left leg. Just noticing also, if we move our torso closer towards our foot, that might even deepen the stretch a little bit. Send just one more deep inhalation into the left hip. Really try to fill that space with breath. And once your exhale is ended, let's lift ourselves up. We'll do that on the opposite side. So rising up, sweep your right leg forward and your left leg goes off to the side. Take your time to shift and adjust, and whenever you're ready, relax forward. One more time. Deep inhalation into the hip space. And as we start to breathe ourselves up, we're going to move right into a reverse table position. So start to unwind your legs. Your hands are going to come behind you, fingertips facing forward. And if we don't feel comfortable to lift really high up, it's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Unwind. Maybe it's a little, maybe it's a lot. Again, don't stress your neck out. And then starting to release, lower down. Let's make our way into a wide leg split position. Actually, we'll do that from the floor. So just take your stance out as wide as you feel comfortable to go. Take a second to adjust your seat if you need to. And before we relax forward, we always want to breathe ourselves up out of our waist first, and then walk yourself over your legs. Every muscle relax. Take a second to just try to identify where you feel the most tension. So probably through the inner legs, but if it's somewhere else, that's okay too. Just one more breath. And from here, we're going to start to walk ourselves over towards our left leg. This left elbow is going to stay to the inside of that leg, and we're going to rotate our right arm open to the ceiling. You might even see that you can kind of use that left elbow to help rotate you open a little bit more. Maybe we can start to flex our feet back towards us also. And then unwinding, walking yourself over to the right. So again, we can use that right elbow to twist us open more. Taking the left arm up, breathe. And release. Let's lift our spine all the way. Let's turn so we're facing down the left leg. And once again, let's breathe ourselves up out of our waist. And as we exhale, walk yourself over. If you feel comfortable to grab a hold of your foot, that's great. If we're not quite there, it's not a big deal. Other than that, you can grab your ankle, your shin, just let your arms relax out to the side, kind of whatever feels best. Here, just soften over your leg. Completely relax. And taking our time to release. And we'll do that on the opposite side. So this time turning down the right leg again, lift up out of your waist, exhale, fold. If you can grab the foot, that's awesome. If not, don't worry about it. And we'll take our time. We can start to release that leg and lift ourselves up. Nice, carefully, mindfully, let's bring our legs together. Let's actually take a seated forward fold. So just come to a cross-legged position. Take a second to adjust your seat and walk yourself straight forward over your legs. Just melting down towards the floor. And as we inhale, let's bring ourselves up. We're going to do kind of a crazy twist from here. So with our left hand, let's grab the out step of the right foot. And if we're a little tight through the low back and hamstrings, you're just going to lift that leg a little bit. If we're a little more flexible, you can really extend that leg all the way out. And then try to take your right arm behind you. If you can even look back, that's great too. If that's stressful on your neck, don't do it. And starting to release. Come back to center. Whichever leg is in front right now, we're going to switch. And one more time, taking that seated forward fold. So lift up first and then exhale, walk yourself over your legs. Noticing where you're feeling the most tension. Is it in your back body? Is it in your hips? Wherever it is, breathe into that space. And moving into that twist on the opposite side. So breathe yourselves up. And this time the right hand is going to the outside of the left foot. Again, it's not a big deal if we we're not comfortable to extend that leg all the way out, but if we can, we will. And maybe take that left arm behind you this time. And if you can look back, that's great. If not, don't worry about it. Breathing, try to sit up tall. And taking your time to release, unwind back to center. Let's extend both legs out in front of us. We're going to do our arm behind the back, shoulder opening thing. So start to extend your legs out. You can take your left arm behind the back in between the shoulder blades. We'll relax straight back onto that arm. And if I remember, I think for you two folks are comfortable to round straight back up to seated. So if that's the case for you, go for it. If not, turn to your left side first, and then, the right side, and then unwind that arm. And we'll do that the opposite way. This time the right arm goes behind the back in between your shoulder blades, and relax that. And again, we'll start to try to unwind that arm from behind us, but we're going to make our way onto our back body. So whatever movements it takes to do that, let's go ahead. We'll make our way into bridge posture. So put a bend in both knees, tuck your shoulder blades underneath of you. Make sure the back of your neck is long across the floor too. And when you're ready, push into the ground, round up through your hips. And if anyone wants to get crazy and do a shoulder blade squeeze or grab a hold of their ankles, they can do that. If you want to get really crazy and try to do a full wheel position, you know, we can bring our hands behind us and lift up as high as you feel comfortable to go as well. Once this breath has ended, let's make our way down to the mat. Take a few windshield wipers through the knees. Massage the low back. And as we coast to a stop, let's extend our legs out. Our shoulder blades are still untucked. Let's bring them underneath of us. Arms relax out to the side. breathing mindfully. Let's start to come back to our body if our attention is drifted. We can start to make some movements with the hands and feet, rocking the head if that feels good, whatever you need to do to wake up the body again. And possibly one more big wake up stretch, really reaching overhead. Inhale deep. And as we exhale, make your way up to a tall seated position, hands to prayer position, or just resting on your heart space, whichever feels best. And as always, just holding that final moment of gratitude for yourself, everyone who joined us for practice today. Remembering that meditative attention is the same that we'll take with us through the rest of our days. And as always, I appreciate you both. Namaste. Thank you.